Hi guys, it's Rebecca. So today I'm going to be just doing my July wrap up. So basically talking about all of the books that I read in July, and I managed to read 4 books, so really not too shabby considering I usually read like 2 books in a month, as everybody knows, and I stopped doing wrap ups a couple of months ago because of that. Like I just felt like there's not really any point because I kind of just thought that there wasn't any point in making wrap-ups because I just felt like everybody else was reading so much more than me, and I just thought, you know what, there's no point in me doing that because it just makes me feel bad about the amount that I can read because I'm a lot slower than everybody else, and it kind of makes me feel like, oh, like, do other people like books more than me, or like, what is it? But I just feel like I'm just slower, and like that's really it. So if I don't read like that much in a month, I just won't be doing a wrap-up, and I just don't like the feeling of rushing myself. That's why I stopped doing them for a couple of months, but I'll do them when I can because otherwise then it'll just not make me feel good about like reading and everything like that, and I really don't want that to ever happen because I don't want it to turn into this thing where like I read like as much as I possibly can just so that I can set it and wrap up. Like I don't see the point in that, and that's not the kind of reader that I want to be, just reading just to have like a certain number of books or whatever. Like I just don't really like that, so I'll do a wrap up whenever I can and stuff like that, and I'm just feeling like doing one today, so I decided to do one. As I said, I read 4 books this month, so that's why I decided to share them all with you because I thought it was kind of worth sharing all 4 books. So the first book that I finished in July was P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han. I absolutely loved rereading this. Like I absolutely had the most fun ever because I love John Ambrose McLaren, and that basically sums up why I like this book. And obviously I'm not going to go into that because of spoilers, but I absolutely love this book and I love this trilogy. I'm really sorry if this like isn't focused like this video because I keep looking at the viewfinder and I feel like it's not focusing, and maybe it's just in my mind, but I just really feel like it's not. So if I keep looking over, then that's why. Hopefully it is my imagination. But anyway, I'm just so happy that I reread this one and the first one because I absolutely love this trilogy. Like they're one of my favorites of all time. It's like some of my favorite books ever, and I just love them so much because they're so cute and it's just so easy to get to know the characters and stuff like that, and I really appreciate that, and I love how easy it is to read these. Like Jenny Han's writing is just so easy to read and it flows so well, and I just absolutely love reading these. Just they're so mindless and fluffy and perfect to read on holiday, which was when I started this, and then I finished it whenever I came home. I just love reading it so much. Like it's just the cutest thing ever. So the next book that I finished in July was The Wicked Deep by Shay Earnshaw. I absolutely loved this book and I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The only reason why I took down like a star was because of the ending. Like I wasn't the biggest fan. Like I feel like it could have went a better way and in a better direction, but it's fine. Like I still absolutely loved it, and I thought it was so creepy and atmospheric, and I listened to it with like thunderstorms in my headphones, and it just like made it so much better. Like I highly recommend doing that because it just makes it feel like you're really there, and especially at the start, like the place described as like really rainy and everything, it just enhances it so much and enhances the writing style and enhances the entire story, and I absolutely loved it. Like I felt like I was really there. I could really get into the writing style and really get into the plot, and I really appreciated that because sometimes I just feel like I can't get into a world properly. I can't vision myself there and place myself inside the character basically, but I was able to do that in this. I was able to go right into Penny Talbot's shoes, and I absolutely really loved that and really appreciated that. And the way Shay Earnshaw writes is absolutely beautiful, and I'm just so happy I read this and so happy that I have this beautiful book because it's absolutely stunning. If you don't know what this book is about, then basically it's about this town that's kind of cursed, and years and years ago in the 1800s these 3 sisters were accused of being witches, and back in those days they didn't like whenever they thought somebody was a witch, so they executed them and drowned them in the lake that surrounds the town basically. Ever since that year, ever since that summer whenever them sisters were drowned, they have basically come back to haunt the town, and they will drown 1 or more boys each during like this specific time during the summer. It's basically about that, and basically about how that happens and how they're able to like lure the boys into the water. So it's kind of like Sirens. That's kind of that kind of idea, but it's so creepy and just so well written, and I really like this book and I highly recommend it. Like I genuinely highly recommend reading this because it's so good and so easy to fly through and just so entertaining overall. So the next book that I read in July was one that I absolutely loved with all of my heart and that I gave 5 stars to, and that is Karela by Ashley Poston. I got this for my birthday and I was so excited to get it. I read it basically immediately after, and I'm just so happy that I finally picked it up because I had been wanting to read it for ages and I finally did. It's amazing. Like, it's one of the best contemporaries like I have ever read. If you haven't read it, then you need to go and read it. You don't expect it to be that good because of like the title. Okay, sounds kind of cringy, like in my opinion anyway. Like Karela, like it just sounds kind of cringy. I told my friends I was reading a book called Karela and they laughed at me, and I was like, no, but seriously, it's good. Like, it's such a good book, and Ashley Poston's writing's so good and so funny, and I love the characters. Like, I loved Elle and I loved Darian Friedman, and I just loved the way like you got to see both point of views and everything, and it just really suited the story. It went really well with the plot, and even like their characters went with the plot, if that makes sense. Sometimes like you'll get a really annoying character and they're just annoying, but sometimes Elle annoyed me, but it suited the plot and it made sense that that's the way she was acting, because like it was justified, if that makes sense, and really fitted into the whole story, and I really appreciated that. Like, she wasn't just annoying for the sake of it. I don't know if anybody else found her kind of annoying, but it was just like kind of like very slightly, just a couple of lines where she annoyed me, but nothing that like I started hating her or anything. But I have to say I did prefer Darian over Elle, but that's fine. Like, I still loved like their relationship and I thought it was super cute. I just really liked it. There's a few things that I had to kind of overlook and it kind of accept, but I understand that what I'm reading is a cute fluffy contemporary, so I'm not reading anything that's supposed to be like perfect literature or anything like that, so I have to judge it on what it is, and for that then it's 5 stars because it's just so well written. Sometimes contemporaries, like, I feel like not a lot of effort's put into them, if that makes sense, because they're like kind of fluffy, then the writing can be kind of bad and kind of cringy, but I didn't get this at all from this. Like, it wasn't cringy, it wasn't weird, it wasn't like anything like that, and the fandom is done so well. And in this book, like, Elle basically loves this show and it's called Starfield, and it's basically like Star Trek or Star Wars. That's kind of like the idea, that it is more like Star Trek, and she is like a fangirl for this. Like, she absolutely loves it and she writes fan fiction and she has a blog and everything. This guy, who's basically like a Zac Efron kind of guy, ends up being cast in a new remake movie as her favourite character, like one of the main characters in Starfield, and she's like, no, like, this is so weird. He's only famous because he's good looking and for his like abs and everything like that. Really, you find out that he's this massive Starfield fan. It just follows that, and basically their stories linked together and everything like that, and it's just so cute, and I absolutely love this book, and I cried my eyes out whenever it was over. Like, I was just like, this can't be over, I don't want it to be over. Like, I love this so much. I'm not being funny. Okay, last night I was crying over Warcross. I'm not even being funny. I was sitting like this crying because it was over, because I loved it so much, and that's what I do whenever I love a book. Like, it feels like I need to hug it because like I love it so much. I'm not even being funny. Like, I just thought to myself, do all our booktubers do that? Like, do other people do that? I don't even know. Like, see, whenever I love a book, like, I love it, like, and I love this so much, and I just was so upset whenever it was over because I didn't want it to end. Same thing as Warcross, which isn't in this wrap up, sorry guys, but it's in next month's wrap up, but like, I just had to talk about it because it was the same kind of feeling. Like, I was just like, kind of like, I can't let this story go. Like, I need to like just like keep it forever, and I just had it on my desk. I can't put that back in my bookshelf. I can't accept that it's over. I can't accept that I'm not reading anymore. That's just kind of what I feel like whenever I give something 5 stars, and I feel like this deserved that because it made me feel that way, and you kind of know it in your bones whenever you've read something 5 stars, even though there may be flaws. Like, you just know whenever something's 5 stars, and this is one of my new favourite contemporaries of all time because it's absolutely amazing. So the next book that I read was one that I received in exchange for an honest review from an author called Olga Gibbs. So basically a couple of months ago she sent me her book and asked me would I be able to review it, and I contacted her and said that I could read it in July, which I did. So that book is Heavenward by Olga Gibbs, and this book is basically about angels, and it's set in our world, but the main character finds out that she's living amongst angels, and kind of like the shadow hunters, but these are like actual angels, like the kind of angels that you'd get in the Bible, and that is like referred to and stuff like that, which I find very interesting. God is referred to and stuff like that, and I like that aspect of it. I think like it had a lot more potential because I think it needed edited a lot more, which isn't Olga Gibbs' fault, I know, but I think that took away from my reading experience because I ended up giving it 3 stars. But that doesn't mean that I didn't really enjoy this book. I absolutely loved my time reading it, and I really enjoyed the plot, and I really enjoyed the storyline, and I even started to really love some of the characters. Like there's one character called Raph, I think that's how you pronounce it, because I think it might be short for Raphael. I don't know if that's supposed to be a spoiler or not, but that's just my thoughts. I don't know if that's right or not because it's actually going to be a series. The second book's going to come out at some point, so it's basically called the Celestial Creatures series. Yeah, so it's about angels and stuff like that, and I just really enjoyed reading it because I hadn't read anything like that before. And I'll leave my Goodreads review link down below in the description so you can go and read like my thoughts on it in more detail. But I really enjoyed it, and please don't let the fact that I gave it 3 stars like put you off reading it, because I think that if people were able to read this and support Olga Gibbs, that would be absolutely amazing because she's so lovely, and I feel like she just deserves for people to buy her book because it deserves to be read. And I think even like the cover doesn't do it justice. Like I know like sometimes whenever a cover isn't the nicest, I'm not saying that this is like an ugly cover or anything like that, but like I just mean like sometimes books in YA, like obviously like so much money has been put into them having these amazing covers and everything like that, so then whenever you see covers that aren't as like spectacular as that, it kind of feels like, okay, like that doesn't look as good as some of the other YA books that I read. But I think that this definitely is worth you picking up just for like even entertainment purposes and for supporting independent authors or indie authors like Olga Gibbs, and she's so lovely, and I honestly would recommend that you pick this up. I'm not saying this because obviously like I was given this book, I'm not saying that for this because obviously I did give it 3 stars. I'm not saying it's 5 stars perfect book, but I definitely think that it is worth you going and supporting her because I just think that that's important sometimes, because then obviously we're encouraging people to write their own books and that it's possible to self-publish and everything like that, and that it's worth it. So 100% that you should give a thought to maybe picking up this book and trying it out, because especially if it sounds like something that you'd be interested in. And I will leave the Amazon link below so that you can check it out and stuff like that, and the link to my Goodreads review so that you can check it out, because I would really appreciate if you did check that out, because honestly Olga Gibbs is such a lovely person. She genuinely is, and I just want to thank her so much for giving me the opportunity to read this book because I genuinely really did enjoy it. So that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed watching, and if you did, please like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that, and please leave me a comment down below if you've already read any of these books or if you're planning to read these books or whatever it is. And as I said, that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.